Friends of the channel, a very warm welcome. Today, with enthusiasm, we dive into the pages of a book that challenges conventional narratives and exposes secrets that shape our world. I personally find this book highly revelatory. Written by a controversial yet deeply knowledgeable author in forgotten historical archives, this work by Stephen Quayle uncovers connections between hidden technology, geopolitics, and the unidentified aerial phenomena that persist in hovering over our skies. Let's start with the obvious: UFOs. The most significant evidence supporting Stephen Quayle's claims are the unidentified flying objects, or so-called UAPs. I personally witnessed several unidentified flying objects in the Canary Islands during my time serving in Spain's Guardia Civil, even conversing with islanders about the subject. In other words, these objects exist, and my conclusion is that most of them do not come from outer space, but are instead piloted by humans. These craft were developed in secret laboratories whose roots trace back to Nazi Germany. While NASA sold the world the hoax of the Apollo project, with antiquated rockets and dubious TV broadcasts, a far more advanced technology, inherited from minds like Victor Schauberger and other Nazi scientists, was already traversing the skies. Schauberger, the genius of vortex propulsion, was one of the pioneers who unraveled the secrets of anti-gravity through sacred geometry. His designs, appropriated by the SS, combined with ancestral technologies of the Manas or channeled by psychics, such as those of the Thule Society, gave rise to the first functionally documented flying saucers, the Haunebu of Nazi Germany. But the story doesn't end there. After World War II, operations like Paperclip brought war criminals such as Hans Kammler to American soil. Kammler was the architect behind the development of concentration camp infrastructure and the manager of nuclear and anti-gravitational weapons development in Nazi Germany. Kammler was never tried because he allegedly committed suicide. However, instead, he and his team formed the core of the secret space program's development in America, a program infiltrated starting in 1947, which we now call the Deep State, a shadow power network operating in secrecy, controlling not only governments but technology that defies the physics taught in academia. I won't go into too much detail here, but I'll provide a PDF link below with the full text if you wish to delve deeper. The book we're analyzing today is not fiction, it's a manual of cognitive guerrilla warfare. And the war? It has already begun. In the skies they insist on hiding from us. Let us dive into this fascinating work.
Quayle's book introduction serves as a call to question the narratives presented by mainstream sources. He argues that conventional history and news reporting are often manipulated by those in power to conceal inconvenient truths and maintain their control over the flow of information. Citing John Swinton's 1860 confession of being a paid intellectual prostitute, Quayle emphasizes the long-standing practice of media manipulation and its potential to mislead the public. This sets the stage for his exploration of a hidden history, one where a shadow government manipulates global events and the truth remains obscured. This reality has come into sharp focus in recent years, as critical analyses reveal how mainstream media constructs a monolithic narrative, one that enforces a singular worldview while systematically marginalizing divergent perspectives. Far from fostering open discourse, this homogenized framework suppresses intellectual pluralism, reducing complex debates to echo chambers of predetermined conclusions. Quayle highlights the dangers of historical revisionism, where historical accounts are rewritten to fit a particular agenda. He argues that this practice not only distorts our understanding of the past, but also prevents us from learning from the mistakes of our predecessors. He emphasizes the importance of critical thinking and independent research in uncovering the truth and resisting manipulation. He encourages readers to question the official narratives they are presented with and to seek out alternative sources of information. Quayle primes his audience to be receptive to his own alternative narrative, framing himself as a truth-teller unveiling the secrets that have been deliberately hidden from public view. The introduction frames the book as a journey into a world where the accepted narrative is challenged and the hidden realities are revealed. Quayle promises to expose the forces behind the manipulation of history and news, unveiling the secrets that have been kept from the public for decades. He links the pursuit of truth to the achievement of freedom, arguing that by understanding the forces that shape our reality, we can empower ourselves to resist manipulation and create a more just world. This sets a conspiratorial tone and establishes Quayle's core argument that a hidden Nazi empire, technologically advanced and deeply entrenched in the shadows, continues to manipulate global events. Quayle portrays Operation Highjump, the 1947 U.S. Navy expedition to Antarctica, as a clandestine military operation disguised as a scientific mission. He contends that the expedition's true objective was to locate and destroy a hidden Nazi base established in Neuschwabenland. The scale of the operation, with its substantial military component including thousands of personnel, an aircraft carrier, and a fleet of destroyers, suggests a military objective far beyond the stated goals of scientific research and mapping. Quayle also points to the lack of civilian scientists on the expedition as further evidence of its covert military nature. Admiral Byrd's post-expedition warnings about advanced aircraft capable of flying from pole to pole at incredible speeds are interpreted by Quayle as veiled allusions to the Nazi UFOs encountered in Antarctica. He argues that these warnings, coupled with reports of U.S. aircraft losses and unexplained incidents during the expedition, point to a hidden conflict with a technologically superior enemy. Quayle cites first-hand accounts from crew members, including radioman John Sawak and pilot John Seierson, who described encounters with mysterious aircraft emerging from the ocean depths. These accounts, though lacking official corroboration, add to the intrigue surrounding Operation Highjump and fuel Quayle's narrative of a suppressed conflict. Quayle contends that the U.S. government, determined to preserve the narrative of its victory in World War II, deliberately concealed the truth about the encounter and downplayed the Nazi threat. He cites the secrecy surrounding the expedition, the lack of transparency in official reports, and Byrd's subsequent silencing as evidence of a concerted effort to suppress the truth. He argues that the U.S. government, faced with the reality of a technologically superior Nazi force in Antarctica, chose to cover up the incident and maintain the illusion of its global dominance. This chapter lays the foundation for Quayle's exploration of the Nazis' Antarctic base and their development of advanced technologies, including flying saucers. Quayle delves into the mystery of Hitler's death, challenging the official account of suicide in the Berlin bunker. He describes Stalin's paranoia and the Soviet Union's Operation Myth, a covert investigation into the possibility of Hitler's survival. Stalin's persistent doubts about Hitler's death, despite having access to the purported remains and eyewitness accounts, suggest a deep-seated suspicion of a deception. Quayle highlights the conflicting reports and inconsistencies in the Soviet autopsy, pointing to the missing piece of Hitler's skull and the later revelation that the skull fragments belonged to a woman. This casts doubt on the authenticity of the remains and raises questions about the true fate of the Führer. Quayle explores the possibility that Hitler, along with other high-ranking Nazis, escaped Berlin before the city fell to the Soviets. He cites anecdotal evidence and declassified documents suggesting that Hitler might have fled to South America, possibly Argentina, with the assistance of a network of sympathizers and the use of German U-boats or even advanced aircraft. This escape, shrouded in secrecy and disinformation, would have allowed Hitler to evade capture and continue his plans for a Fourth Reich from a safe haven. Quayle connects Hitler's potential survival to the establishment of the Nazi base in Antarctica, suggesting that Hitler might have eventually made his way to Neuschwabenland. Quayle's exploration of Hitler's potential survival serves to heighten the sense of mystery and intrigue surrounding the Nazi conspiracy theory. He argues that the official narrative of Hitler's suicide is a carefully constructed lie designed to conceal the truth and allow the Nazi leadership to regroup and continue their plans in secret. He cites various sources, including the book Grey Wolf, The Escape of Adolf Hitler, to support his claims. This chapter lays the groundwork for Quayle's further exploration of the Nazis' post-war activities and their continued threat to global security. Quayle delves into the details of Neuschwabenland, the alleged Nazi base in Antarctica, portraying it as the heart of the Fourth Reich. He describes pre-war German expeditions to the region, highlighting the extensive mapping, exploration, and symbolic claiming of territory through the planting of swastika flags. He cites the work of historians who have documented these expeditions, arguing that they were not simply scientific endeavors, but rather part of a larger plan to establish a strategic foothold in Antarctica. Quayle suggests that the Nazis, anticipating a potential defeat in World War II, sought to secure a remote and inaccessible location where they could regroup, develop advanced technologies, and prepare for a future resurgence. The construction of a vast underground fortress in Neuschwabenland is a central element of Quayle's narrative. He describes a complex built within a natural ice cave or carved into the Antarctic mountains, complete with docks for U-boats, hangars for advanced aircraft, and facilities for sustaining a large population. He cites alleged eyewitness accounts from U-boat crew members and other sources, describing the scale and complexity of the base. Quayle argues that this fortress served as a safe haven for fleeing Nazis, a research and development center for advanced technologies, and a staging ground for their post-war activities. Quayle connects Neuschwabenland to Admiral Dönitz's 1943 statement about a Shangri-La built for Hitler in another part of the world. He suggests that this was a coded reference to the Antarctic base, further solidifying its importance in the Nazis' plans. The establishment of Neuschwabenland, according to Quayle, was a crucial element of the Nazis' long-term strategy for world domination. By securing a remote and virtually impregnable fortress, they could evade capture, develop advanced technologies in secret, and prepare for a future resurgence. This chapter lays the foundation for Quayle's discussion of Nazi UFOs and other advanced technologies. Quayle explores the alleged development of Nazi UFOs, linking their origins to both advanced technology and occult practices. He delves into the activities of the Vril Society, a secretive group that believed in channeled information from Aryan aliens residing in the Aldebaran star system.
This blending of occult beliefs and technological ambition is presented as a defining characteristic of the Nazi quest for advanced technology. He describes the various types of Nazi flying saucers, including the Haunebu, Vril, and Dorn, detailing their alleged capabilities and performance characteristics. Accounts from witnesses who claim to have seen these craft are cited, along with the possibility that the Nazis reverse-engineered technology from a crashed alien spacecraft. He references researchers like Henry Stevens, who documented the various German flying disc programs. This exploration of Nazi UFOs adds a layer of science fiction to the conspiracy narrative, blurring the lines between historical accounts and speculative technology. The discussion of Nazi UFOs goes beyond mere speculation about advanced aircraft. It is suggested that these craft were not simply technological marvels, but were also connected to supernatural forces, possibly even demonic entities harnessed by the Nazis through their occult practices. This connection between technology and the supernatural adds a chilling dimension to the conspiracy theory, portraying the Nazis as not only technologically advanced, but also dabbling in dangerous and forbidden knowledge. Proposing that the US government, after discovering evidence of Nazi UFO technology, embarked on a secret program to reverse engineer these advanced craft. He cites the alleged Majestic 12 project, a clandestine group purportedly formed by President Truman to investigate and exploit recovered alien technology. The controversial Majestic 12 documents, allegedly leaked in the 1980s, are presented as evidence of this secret program, though their authenticity remains widely disputed. Also mentioned is the Cutler-Twining memo, which supposedly confirms the existence of Majestic 12. These documents, along with anecdotal accounts and rumors, are woven together to create a narrative of government secrecy and hidden technological development. The Roswell incident, a cornerstone of UFO lore, is presented as a potential case of a crashed Nazi saucer. The argument is made that the US government, eager to conceal the true nature of the object and the extent of Nazi technological advancement, used the alien cover story as a convenient explanation. This deception, it is claimed, not only served to protect national security, but also to discredit and marginalize those who believed in the reality of UFOs. Manipulation of public perception, according to this theory, allowed the US government to continue its secret reverse engineering program without public scrutiny. The alleged reverse engineering efforts are linked to a broader narrative of hidden Nazi influence. It is suggested that, having infiltrated the US government through Operation Paperclip and other covert means, Nazi scientists and officials may have played a role in shaping the direction of American technological development, steering it toward the replication and exploitation of their advanced aerospace technologies. This chapter raises questions about the true origins of certain breakthroughs and the extent to which the US government may have benefited from Nazi scientific expertise. Examining the Nazi propaganda machine and its use of the big lie to manipulate public opinion, the analysis includes quotes from Hitler's writings on the power of colossal untruths and Goebbels' pronouncements on the effectiveness of repeating a lie until it is believed. It is argued that these propaganda techniques, perfected by the Nazis, continue to be employed today by those in power to shape public perception and maintain control. Connections are drawn between the Nazi propaganda machine and the contemporary media landscape, suggesting that news reporting, entertainment, and even education are used to disseminate disinformation and manipulate the masses. The role of corporations and financial institutions in supporting the Nazi regime is discussed, citing the work of Anthony C. Sutton, who documented the financial connections between Wall Street and Hitler. The argument is made that these powerful entities, driven by greed and a thirst for power, not only facilitated the rise of Nazism, but also helped to preserve Nazi wealth and influence after the war. This corporate complicity, according to the theory, allowed the Nazis to establish their Antarctic base, develop advanced technologies, and continue their plans for world domination from the shadows. These institutions are portrayed as part of a larger network of power that transcends national boundaries and operates outside the purview of democratic processes. The discussion of propaganda and corporate complicity reinforces the narrative of a hidden Nazi power manipulating global events. It is argued that the same forces that enabled the rise of Nazism in the 20th century are still at work today, shaping public opinion, controlling the flow of information, and promoting a hidden agenda that serves the interests of a global elite. The Nazis' use of propaganda is connected to modern media, suggesting that the public is constantly bombarded with disinformation and manipulated into accepting narratives that benefit those in power. The exploration of the occult beliefs and practices of the Nazi leadership focuses on the activities of the Ahnenerbe. Descriptions include their expeditions to Tibet, the search for ancient artifacts, and attempts to establish contact with supernatural entities. Himmler's fascination with Heinrich the Fowler, whom he believed to be his past life, is presented as evidence of the SS leader's deep immersion in occultism. The adoption of mystical symbols and rituals by the SS is analyzed, suggesting that these practices were not merely symbolic, but reflected a genuine belief in supernatural powers. The Nazi leadership is portrayed as obsessed with the occult, seeking to harness supernatural forces to achieve their ambitions.
The Nazis' complex relationship with science is scrutinized, with the claim that they rejected reason and perverted scientific principles to serve their ideological agenda. Their suppression of dissenting scientific voices and promotion of pseudoscientific theories supporting racial ideology are highlighted. Horrific medical experiments conducted by Dr. Joseph Mengele and other Nazi doctors in concentration camps are detailed, illustrating the consequences of scientific perversion. The argument is made that these atrocities were not just the actions of rogue individuals, but stemmed directly from the Nazis' ideological distortions of science. Finally, the Nazi propaganda machine is dissected, showing how sophisticated methods of manipulating public opinion were used to manufacture consent for their agenda. From film to education, media control is emphasized as a means of shaping ideology, a practice argued to persist in contemporary society. Quayle concludes by framing the struggle against the hidden Nazi empire as a spiritual battle, one that transcends political and ideological boundaries. He warns of a coming persecution of Christians, mirroring the Nazis' persecution of religious groups during World War II. He argues that this persecution will be part of a larger effort to suppress religious freedom and establish a new world order based on occult principles and totalitarian control. He urges Christians to be prepared for this spiritual warfare, to strengthen their faith, and to resist the forces of darkness. Quayle connects the Nazi conspiracy theory to biblical prophecies about the end times, suggesting that the rise of a Hitler-like figure, empowered by advanced technology and driven by a satanic agenda, could herald the arrival of the Antichrist. He argues that the events unfolding in our world today, including the rise of secularism, the erosion of moral values, and the increasing concentration of power in the hands of a global elite, are signs of the approaching end times. He encourages readers to turn to God and to seek spiritual guidance in these troubled times. Quayle's conclusion serves as a call to action, urging readers to recognize the spiritual dimensions of the battle against evil and to prepare for the challenges ahead. He offers a message of hope and resilience, reminding readers that despite the darkness that seems to be encroaching upon the world, the ultimate victory belongs to God. He encourages readers to put their faith in God, to stand firm in their beliefs, and to fight for the future of humanity. If you liked this content, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Thank you for joining us.
They scripted the world in neon fiction, sold us dreams through a glass partition. We're the glitch in the simulation, a generation's incineration. Can you feel the voltage in the static? A million hearts